How are cases of missing white women and women of color portrayed in the media? In 2022, roughly 271,327 women were reported missing in the United States. However, not all of them received media attention. The likelihood that the public will hear about these cases and to what extent is greatly influenced by the media. What is newsworthiness? The term newsworthiness refers to the way the media chooses which stories to cover based on how popular and emotionally provoking they are to the public. Two theories support this term. First, rarity theory, which labels stories newsworthy if they're about women or children, if they're uncommon, or if they have more than one victim. The second theory is devaluation theory, which describes how portraying white people as the typical victims of crime adds to their fear of being victimized. As can be guessed, the media labels women as the perfect victim because in their eyes they are considered damsels in distress in need of protection. As a result, their stories receive more media attention across all of its forms. For instance, Janice and Powers found that stories about missing females obtained 12 times more media attention and had more words per story than those portraying missing males. Despite missing women cases being more popular than those of men, not all women receive the same level of coverage. Race plays an important factor in determining how the media will represent the victims of each crime. So, let's begin by describing some of the stereotypes used by the media to describe victims of minority groups. According to a study conducted by Slakoff and Brennan, the media tends to label black women as bad mothers, risk takers, drug or alcohol abusers, and sex workers. In the case of Latino women, they're often classified as bad people, sexually provocative, gangsters, and as unable to speak the language. Not surprising, Native American females in the United States tend to be ignored by the media. Therefore, there's no record of stereotypes used in their coverage. Lastly, Asian women are labeled as bad mothers and sexually exotic. When women from these minority groups go missing, the media uses these stereotypes to blame them for their victimization and describe their lives in a negative light. As can be expected, this influences the public's perception on how worthy these victims are and if looking for them is truly worth it. In contrast to how the media labels victims of minority groups, white women are often portrayed as family-oriented, innocent, and kind, as well as good mothers or daughters and caring people. White woman syndrome refers to the media's overrepresentation of cases of missing white women. A perfect example of this is the case of Hannah Anderson, a white 16-year-old female who disappeared in August of 2013. Once authorities started working on her case, it was discovered that a family friend, James DiMaggio, had kidnapped her after cheerleading practice. Her case took a mind of its own. Several news story outlets broadcasted her story across the whole country. According to Summers, her story was covered in more than 20 articles and 30 videos on CNN.com. Another example is the case of Natalie Holloway, a white 18-year-old female who went missing in 2005 in Aruba. The media described her as pretty and as a dedicated student on her way to attending the University of Alabama. Her case also broke national records. Because cases of missing white women tend to be consumed, read, and watched in their totality by the public, news media has labeled them as more newsworthy than cases of missing women of color. This can be seen in a study conducted by Slakoff and Fradella, where the researchers found that out of 194 news articles about missing women cases, 132 stories feature a white woman, 38 feature a black woman, and only 24 feature women from another racial background, such as the Middle East, Chinese, Japanese, or Indian. It's important to highlight that cases of missing women of color that do obtain any media coverage tend to be accompanied by other factors such as 1. descriptions of their current job or studies and how this makes them acceptable members of society. 2. Mention their sexual relationships or if they are sex workers. 3. Information about their role in their families, such as mothers or daughters. 4. Descriptions of suspects in the case. This makes the public sympathize with the victims and labels offenders of minority groups as more aggressive, since most cases of missing women of color are perpetrated by the same race. A case of a missing woman of color was that of Tameen Jones. She was a 19-year-old African American who vanished in 2013 in Newark, New Jersey. The police initial response was that she was a runaway, and only a handful of local papers were written on her case. Another case was that of Reina Carolina Morales Rojas. She was a 41-year-old Salvadorian immigrant. She disappeared on November 26 in Boston. Her case has received little to no media attention. Finally is the case of Lauren Cho, a 30-year-old Korean American woman who went missing on June 2021 in California's Joshua Tree National Park. In the beginning, her case didn't receive much media attention until her family and friends started to post about her disappearance in social media. In conclusion, media coverage of missing women is disproportionately given to white women. They tend to be portrayed in a better light than women of color, which not only affects their case at the police level, but how well the public will know about it. This hinders cases and their ability to be solved, victimizing minority women even more.